Hey there YouTube lovers, my name is BB8 and today we are going to review the newly released Cuphead clone, Enchanted Portals. Unfortunately, I was never ever excited for this game to begin with, from the first trailer back in 2019 due to its similarities to Cuphead. But is Enchanted Portals really that bad? Well, I checked it out myself to get my own opinion on the game, and let me tell you, it's underwhelming and forgettable. Why, you may ask? Well, you're about to find out. So, without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? For you guys who clicked on this video and is curious about what Enchanted Portals is, this is why I put it here. Because Enchanted Portals is a game that was announced back in 2019 as a Kickstarter project emerging from the studio Xixo Game Studios, and that's spelled Xixo, who were ardent fans of the iconic Cuphead game, and their dream was to recapture the magic of Cuphead's vintage animation and challenging gameplay. But this undertaking faced turbulent waters right from the start, because the initial Kickstarter campaigns for this game faltered, unable to meet their ambitious fundraising targets. But however, Epic Games stepped in to provide the amount needed to breathe new life into Enchanted Portals as a game, but then was handed to Perp Games for distribution within the platforms of Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, and PC, offering gamers both digital and physical editions of the game. Which of course I ended up borrowing the game from someone, so really I didn't own it practically. But fast forward to September of 2023, Enchanted Portals finally saw the light of day, but unfortunately, Steam reviews were less than enchanted. The game received a barrage of negative feedback, raising the question of what went wrong when Cuphead got it so right. As a fervent admirer of Cuphead, this release struck a dissonant chord. In this video, I dive into the game's journey, its development woes, and the elements that set Cuphead apart from Enchanted Portals, offering my personal perspective on what could have been a magical gaming experience, but ultimately fell short on the mark. For the gameplay, Enchanted Portals has players step into the shoes of the leads, Bobby and Penny, two young and aspiring wizards who find themselves trapped between dimensions after a fateful mishap involving the mystical toad. But what sets this game apart from its cooperative gameplay option, allowing you to tackle challenges solo or team up with a friend for even more enchanting experience. The heart of Enchanted Portals lies in its unique blend of platforming stages, interspersed with thrilling boss battles. As you progress through the game, you'll discover a treasure trove of magical power-ups at your disposal, helping you to conquer the myriad obstacles that stand in your way. While Cuphead might come into mind for some, my experience with this game revealed a different story. However, Enchanted Portals did not evoke the same feelings as Cuphead. The 2D level design, while engaging, felt somewhat repetitive, making it challenging to maintain the same level of excitement throughout the game. And the linear progression in level selection also posed a unique challenge, as players couldn't customize the order in which they tackled the formidable bosses. This design choice might prove frustrating for those seeking a more tailored experience, especially if they find themselves struggling with particular adversaries. Additionally, the user interface design does bother me a bit, only because the UI design does appear cheap. Because for something that's been in development for 4 years, I would have expected a higher quality UI than that. But unfortunately, Enchanted Portals has an awful UI. And I would have expected something better from this. Because unlike Cuphead, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, and Persona 5, which all had peak UI design, Enchanted Portals fell flat with its UI design, and it really bothered me a lot. For the graphics, when it comes to Enchanted Portals, it sets out to capture the essence of the bygone era, and at first glance, it's not hard to draw comparisons to the beloved title of Cuphead. The visual aesthetics in Enchanted Portals are undeniably reminiscent of a classic 1930s style, much like Cuphead, but however, there's a key difference that sets them apart, and that's the animation process. And while Cuphead meticulously hand-drew all of its hard work on paper and then digitally coloured it through Photoshop, Enchanted Portals took a different approach by animating everything digitally. This approach, though commendable, could be a double-edged sword, as the charm of Cuphead not only lies in its visual style, but in the painstakingly authentic process that was employed in its creation. Drawing on paper and then translating it into digital form brought a genuine touch to Cuphead, making it feel like an authentic 1930s cartoon. Moreover, Cuphead did go an extra mile by applying filters over the gameplay itself, effectively transporting players into the surreal world of a vintage cartoon, as it felt like you were watching a film straight from the 1930s. But Enchanted Portals, on the other hand, falls short in this department, as the graphics in Enchanted Portals were alright, but don't reach the same level of authenticity as Cuphead. While they do a commendable job at emulating the art style, the UI design just felt awful, like I said in the gameplay section, which does make Enchanted Portals feel like a missed opportunity, as if it got lost in an enchanted forest without truly capturing the spirit of a 1930s cartoon. But in the end, when it comes to graphics and authenticity, Cuphead did it way better, leaving Enchanted Portals to fall flat in comparison. For the story, one crucial area within Enchanted Portals that did bother me was probably its story. The story was just underwhelming. It all kicks off with two fledgling wizards, Bobby and Penny, both eager to hone their magical talents. Their journey begins when they stumble upon an ancient book, a tome of boundless potential that can conjure portals to uncharted dimensions, propelling them into a whirlwind of adventures, mysteries, and danger. The initial premise of this fantastical expedition was promising for some, drawing players into a world where magic and exploration know no bounds. But however, it's in the execution of the concept of Enchanted Portals that stumbles. Regrettably, the game's narrative leaves much to be desired, as the characters, Bobby and Penny, despite their initial charm, seem to get lost in the midst of the epic journey itself. They lack depth and development, making it a challenge for players to truly connect with their fates and care about the outcome of their quest, and as a result, I couldn't really get into the story or the characters, which made it lose the emotional resonance that could have otherwise made it memorable. For the summary, the gameplay, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. I found the gameplay of Enchanted Portals to be a bit mediocre compared to Cuphead, as the 2D level design was one of my biggest criticisms of the whole game, being repetitive and the levels feeling linear, meaning that the players couldn't select the order in which they played them, unlike in Cuphead. The graphics and the performance, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. While the graphics I can't consider awful, they were deemed to fall short compared to Cuphead's visual style. Additionally, the UI design was probably the biggest weakness as of the graphics, because it felt a bit cheap, in my opinion. The story, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10, because unfortunately, the story in Enchanted Portals was hard to get into, and it failed to captivate me, lacking depth and substance, as the plot fell shallow and engaging, making the story one of the game's weakest aspects. The characters, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. The characters in the game lacked the unique qualities and charms that make characters memorable. Throughout the game, I struggled to form a connection with them, and their development, which is left to be desired, but unfortunately, I couldn't get there. The music, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. The soundtrack definitely has to be another weakness for me, because I can describe the music as it felt a bit cheap, in my opinion, with the sound effects sounding like royalty-free sound effect assets rather than original compositions. For the difficulty, I'm going to give it a half. Enchanted Portals does offer a challenging experience akin to Cuphead, with the boss battles being demanding, while side-scrolling levels provide a bit of relief. But however, the linearity of the levels do not contribute to the game's difficulty, making it a mixed bag in this regard. The length, I'm going to give it 4 hours, as Enchanted Portals was described as one of the shortest games that I've ever played, with a playtime of 4 hours. If I'm going to be honest about Enchanted Portals, I did get bored after 30 minutes, so I didn't really get to the end. So it was like, I borrowed the game, played it for only 30 minutes, and then gave it back. And I can note that YouTube videos showcasing the game were similarly short, only 50 minutes long. And especially for a game that started development 4 years ago, you could have expected something longer than what this game was. The audience, I'm going to give it a 3+, because the game was considered relatively mild in terms of graphic violence, making it potentially suitable for children, but however, I can express doubts in long-term popularity. Drawing comparison to Strange World, a Disney film that came out last year, since that film is already forgettable, unfortunately, I don't see Enchanted Portals being memorable in the next 10 years, unfortunately. I think Cuphead had a long-lasting impact, but Enchanted Portals failed to replicate that. And for the perk, unfortunately, it's the first time in a review video I'm ever giving it this perk, but unfortunately, the Void perk is what Enchanted Portals had fell into. Enchanted Portals, unfortunately, had a lackluster performance and reception, becoming the 23rd game of all time to make it into the Void perk, and the 3rd in 2023. I didn't really do review videos for the other two because they were that bad, but Redfall and the Lord of the Rings Gollum both fell into the Void perk this year, and Enchanted Portals is the 3rd game to fall into that, because I can describe that Enchanted Portals is an Aldi branded Cuphead clone that failed to capture what made Cuphead great. Instead, I recommend playing Cuphead, which did get the score of 9 out of 10. But unfortunately, Enchanted Portals did not get that score. And overall, I give Enchanted Portals the underwhelming 3 out of 10. Enchanted Portals received this rating, in my opinion, because this game managed to secure its spot as my 3rd least favourite game of 2023, and it's not an accolade that I should be proud of. The laundry list of shortcomings include forgettable characters, an uninspiring story, level design that's the definition of repetitive, questionable sound design, and the artwork that's just passable. It's clear that Enchanted Portals attempted to capture the magic that Cuphead exuded, but falls short, leaving you with a sour reminder on how great Cuphead truly is. In this case, it's not a compliment, and the game's journey from Kickstarter crowdfunding has unfortunately culminated into this forgettable mess. Calling it a disappointment doesn't even seem fitting, since my excitement for this game was never there. Because from the point it was announced, I was never ever excited for Enchanted Portals to begin with. And regrettably, Enchanted Portals joins the exclusive club of games awarded the Void Perk in 2023 alongside Redfall and The Lord of the Rings Gollum, which I was unenthusiastic about. And it is notable that Enchanted Portals is the 23rd game ever to fall into the category. And I wouldn't be surprised if this fades into obscurity over the next decade, as it simply wasn't worth the attention. Instead, if you're looking for a game with memorable characters, challenging bosses, and unforgettable music, I wholeheartedly recommend revisiting Cuphead, which is a more enjoyable by leaps and bounds. And by upgrading Cuphead to the Delicious Last Course DLC, even more content to enjoy. So guys, what did you think of my review for Enchanted Portals? Unfortunately, I didn't enjoy this game, so this video was kind of really hard to make. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and turn your notification bell on so you don't miss another review video like this one. I am going to review some other games in the next few weeks, since I'm currently playing through Persona 5 again and Lego 2K Drive. So hopefully, after my 1 year later review of Overwatch 2 and my video game adaptation review of Detective Pikachu the movie, I should be able to get something that's actually good in terms of a review video out. So, I will see you all in a future video. BB8 out.